All right, here we go. Late night happy hour on Friday. Dave Koken, Steve Cofield. What's up, Dave?
I'm just enjoying a nice night of sports, capped off by a Golden Knights win in overtime after they gave up a pretty nice lead, 4-1 to 4-4, but they all's well that ends well. 2 more points.
I've always thought March is the best month of the sports year. Not everyone agrees, but I love March.
Well, yeah, last March wasn't so hot, but
halfway through it was a normal March, and then all of a sudden around the 17th, it was all over. But we got our local hockey team kicking ass, college basketball, March Madness, and then you love baseball like I love baseball, so the beginning of baseball too. And now, frankly, we're an NFL city now that the Raiders are here, and the hype for the freaking draft and free agencies already begun. So it's crazy, and we're kind of getting a grip on the NBA and where that's going in the second half. So I love March.
Yep, and this year March Madness rather than March Sadness. So that'll be good. It's going to be fun. So much going on at the same time. Very exciting. Even if it doesn't matter if you're a sports bettor or just a fan. I mean, this really is the best time of year.
Adam Hill is checking in. It'll be a little noisy in the background. He's got the PA. I got all confused tonight. Adam, back at the Orleans?
Yeah, I'm at the Orleans, but I kind of found it's a weird angle on the screen. I know it. I found like a little back corner.
Well, you didn't have to come on right now. You could have watched the end of the game.
Well, I've got it. I can see it right here.
It's a blowout anyway.
Yeah, I just have to type in the final score. So,
it's funny how that goes. I mean, I should have bet Santa Clara tonight. I didn't. I knew everybody's going to fade them tonight because they looked so bad against Portland last night, and you know how that goes. They come up with probably their best game of the year tonight against Pacific.
Oh, he froze up. He froze up.
Adam. Oh yes, he did freeze up.
Yeah, look at him.
That's a nice look.
I was going to say, what is that? What do you think that is? Is he agreeing with you? He's like, you should have bet. You should have bet it.
Looks like he's ready to endorse Bayer aspirin.
That's awesome. He might be able to hear us, and he's just frozen. No, I don't think he has the video. Let's see. Yep. Cofield takes the paid job off, shows up for the free one. I like it. What's going on? I don't think we've seen RJJ Ryan in a little bit. I don't know if we're going to get into this tonight with Dave. A couple of guys. How great is Allie's offhand comment? Guy comment lead to multiple hours of convo on the pod on the radio. Did they do it today? I didn't listen to the show today, so
I think they introed something along those lines in the intro.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but I wasn't.
Did you get in on this at all? And no one explained it to you?
No.
Allie, who's on Tuesdays, and you've been on with Allie before, just made a comment about Drake, the musician, and the State Farm commercial, and said he's a guy's guy. And I was like, wait, whoa, what does that mean? And it's turned into like 3 days of radio, and who's a guy's guy, and everyone's got a different definition. So,
well, I mean, I guess Liberace would not have been a guy's guy, using the vernacular with it that I think this is intended to be.
Right. Actually, that's a question we haven't asked. Can a gay man be a guy's guy?
I suppose
it depends on the standards. Well, it depends on what you think of what a guy's guy is. So initially we came out of the gates and it was kind of like a burly, manly looking guy who maybe can take care of business, not like fighting, but take care of stuff around the house, can fix stuff. And then it changed along the way. Then Adam had his definition yesterday, which was some guy who's stuck in like 1974, like a young Archie Bunker who's still here now, a racist, doesn't really treat women with respect.
That's a guy's guy.
I don't know. That's what he came up with.
Yeah. No, that's more man's man. JVT today went into the deep dive between guy's guy and man's man.
Oh, there's a difference?
Yeah.
I tried not to let us get there because I thought it would get
What is the difference?
Dave, we've been talking about this for 4 days. I have no fucking idea.
I know. It's the dumbest piece of radio ever. But,
it's so dumb.
But I know this. I think a lot of guys were like, well, I'm not a guy's guy. Like, what the hell? So it struck to the core of dudes because they were like, hey, am I not a guy's guy? What's wrong with me?
So did Allie have a definition for what a girl's girl would be?
We might do that on Tuesday. We might have to do it again on Tuesday next week. We'll see.
She considered herself a guy's girl.
Okay.
Like,
I think that definition probably is easier. Gets a girl who's into a lot of stuff that guys like, sports, probably drinking beer.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
JVT said guys like beer and men like a hard liquor.
Well, what if you like wine?
I think
You're
you're just
not
not
out
on, you're not
out.
on the list.
You're out. Wine drinkers out.
No, see, I would
Liberace
disagree with that.
out.
I think that now I'm not using myself as an example because I don't touch the stuff much anymore. But at one time, I was pretty knowledgeable about wines, and then if I went to a good restaurant, I knew what to order. Now, if you're with a girl, that I think that that can be impressive.
Sure, but I think Steve has turned into this, has turned into where you're going with it. I think, and again, there's no right or wrong.
No.
To be, just so you're in the loop, I believe Allie named you the most guy of anybody on Cofield Company. You and Justin Watkins were the two.
Actually, the first one was Petro.
That's true, Petro. That's right.
Yeah, Petro. And I think she had a nod for Koken. So
Yeah,
I think Koken's a guy's guy. I don't know.
sure, I think so. But I don't know what it means.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, like I said, my biggest thing is a dude who can take care of some shit, but also has a presence. Like he walks in the room and maybe he's not like the top dog, but people respect him. Like that's a guy's guy. Like you look at him, and you're like, guy's guy right there. That's all.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I think we've banged on every show and every podcast. Like we know for sure that Ari is not a guy's guy.
Sure,
Like for a myriad of reasons, and it's not being mean. I think he admits it. So, and then he basically went in the same direction as Adam and started talking about guy's guy is racist, sexist,
I think that's man's man.
can't talk to women.
No, it had
How would
nothing.
that be?
It had,
I mean,
it
man's
had
man
nothing to
not-
do with. It had nothing to do with talking to women. It was
Well,
the
that's what he
racist.
turned it into.
It's the
That's
old.
what
No,
he turned it- that's what he turned it. He absolutely did from the get go. He's like, I can actually sit down with a woman and have a conversation. I'm like, all right, I guess. The rest of us are just like, what?
Well, so can I, as long as it's about sports.
And wine,
Not even that anymore.
and 84 like illegal drugs. You could talk about that.
Oh yeah. But I don't understand why would a man's man be some of the things that Adam was suggesting. I don't.
Who knows?
That's just an idiot. It
Well,
is.
I think this is a good switch. Well, Dave, I like my vision, and I think this is how it started. I was like, it's Tim Allen it's a Tim Allen character. Like that's who it is. That's
Well,
the
the
guy.
character. Okay.
Yeah. No, he plays.
Yeah, he could fix a lot of things.
He plays
Made cool noises. Very good impressions of power tools.
right.
Well, they were.
Yeah, and he's a racist and a sexist. That's
Well,
a
no,
man's man.
but that's. I don't know anything about him personally. Archie Bunker wouldn't be a man's man. Archie was an idiot. He was an asshole.
Sure.
Now he mellowed as time went on, but he treated his wife miserably, and hated everybody and blamed everybody but himself for his shortcomings. So how would that be a man's man? That's just a jerk.
Well, no, it wasn't actual Archie Bunker. It was Archie Bunker's political views and being able to fix things and that sort of thing. It was a guy that can like hunt, fish, do stuff around the house, and he has the political views of Archie Bunker.
Yeah, but Archie Bunker couldn't do any of those things. He just had the political views.
I know.
Couldn't
I'm saying
fix anything.
the acumen of Tim Allen, the political views of Archie Bunker, which they're actually one and the same. So.
I don't know much about Tim's political views.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Dave, I want to get.
Politics.
Adam, you done?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm not mad. No, I just saw a story pop up. I didn't even know about this one. Because I want to get to some college basketball, what's going on tonight and the rest of the weekend, and a little bit on the Mountain West. Dave, have you talked to your people at Tennessee football?
Not in the last month or so. But obviously they've got a multitude of problems there.
Well, they hired Kevin Steele, who was at Auburn.
Yeah.
And then they fired him.
When did he get fired?
They just fired him 2 months into a 2-year contract that he got in January. And
I didn't even know that.
Yep. This is under Heupel. And now they owe him $860,000 for 7 weeks of work.
Not bad.
Wasn't his whole thing with the AD and the new coach, like, let's clean it up? Already you're on the hook for like a little under $1 million for 7 weeks of work.
What did they find on him?
I don't know. Has anyone followed the story? Yeah, Brady's saying they owe him $860,000.
I'll contact my guy tomorrow because I didn't even know this happened, to be honest with you.
I think it was actually part of the new stimulus bill. One of like the 800 amendments they proposed tonight.
Ah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of stuff in that bill.
Joe Manchin is like 100 less for everybody on unemployment, but let's give some buyout money to Tennessee. Yeah, he could be the next coach of Kansas because Miles is done.
I would think so. That story I am aware of.
Yeah, what do you think of that one, Dave? That's a guy's guy or a man's man or Archie Bunker?
That's a creep.
Yep.
I don't know what other category it falls into, but it's and some other heads are going to roll at LSU, I assume, over this. If, some of those, I know, I saw some stuff about LSU. There are some people in some trouble there.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, he was a terrible hire for Kansas anyway. Coach is completely all done.
Yeah.
The program actually got worse under him.
Just to fill people in, if you're not following the story, like at LSU, all this stuff about Les Miles has now popped up, and it's from 2013. And the AD was like, "We got to fire the guy. Like, this is out of control. We've told him stop. He won't stop." And the incoming president and other administration were like, "Have you seen his record? We're good. We're good."
SEC, SEC. That is really what the SEC chant is about. Win at all costs. Think about there was a period of time then when Les Miles, I think I'm right on this, Les Miles, Bobby Petrino, and Hugh Freeze were all coaching at the same time in the SEC. And I wonder, as things went down, if any of the others were like, "Man, that guy, what an asshole," or they were like, "Oh shit, I can't believe what I'm getting away with."
And by the way, the other two are still coaching. Not there anymore, but they're still coaching.
Yep, they got back. They got back in.
Yep. Pretty much everybody except Dave Bliss gets hired for a head coaching job, and even he got one in high school.
Even he got a job. Yeah, he got a job. It's amazing. Who's the clown at Baylor? The other clown, the football coach. What's his name again? Art Briles.
Yeah, he has not gotten another head coaching job.
He bounced around at least one high school, right, or two high schools?
I think so.
Yeah, he'll be back at some point, though.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's going to be LSU.
Well, and the thought process will be, well, he wins games.
And Urban Meyer for doing a lot of the same stuff, overlooking crimes, fixing crimes. He would have been back if the Jags hadn't stolen him away. So, yep. Maybe it'll change though. You know what? Actually, with all this, because I think now people are so triggered, like they're watching now. You know what I mean?
Well, but here's the downside of that is, could it also mean that some coaches who really didn't do much of anything wrong will get in trouble for not doing much wrong? Because we have swung, we've swung too far in the other direction. It's ridiculous.
Which brings us to what do you guys think about the latest now with Creighton and Doug McDermott?
Wasn't a great choice of words.
Dave, you've seen this, right?
Yep.
I mean,
are we overdoing it? Are they overdoing it? I mean, he's sending out apologies. They're suspending him. He's not coaching. Go ahead, Dave, first, and then Adam follow up.
I think it's ridiculous, but the fact is we know cancel culture has gone insane, and it'll cool off eventually. But right now, you just have to watch everything. You have to cloak everything you say. Be very careful. You can't use a word like plantation, I guess.
And listen, what he was trying to say was was reservation, which already is not it's not great anyway. But it's just outdated language.
Which, by the way, none of this would have happened with reservation.
No,
Probably not.
No. And what I think is happening there is, like, obviously to me, context is always everything. I argue that all the time. I don't think that there was an intent there. I've said I use this example all the time, but there's a difference between getting mad at a black guy on the street and yelling the N-word at him and rapping along with a rap song and using the word when you're rapping, right? That's not the same use. It's not the same meaning. It shouldn't be the same thing.
It shouldn't be, but good luck doing that on radio right now.
Yeah, but I mean that's what it should be.
You can't say anything anymore. Yeah. I've just taken the stance that I'm not apologizing for anything I say. If you don't like it, too bad.
When you have that power
right.
at your station in life, and
I do and I don't. I mean, I do work for a company.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but Dave, it's a different sort of deal. You know that now.
Oh, sure.
For you, and like Adam said, towards the end of your career, nothing against you. I don't know. You're not going to be working until you're 88 years old. You don't want to, and you shouldn't be.
No, but I hope I am actually doing what I'm doing.
In your world, I think it's a little bit different. I don't think a lot of it is who's watching. And what a good example is, for the longest time, Joe Rogan was able to do whatever he wanted, and then all of a sudden, you get $100 million deal from Spotify, and like now you've got some new eyes on you. And initially, when he comes out on Spotify, people are going back and getting him. Trying to. They didn't. But
I don't know if you guys saw the interview last week on Bill Maher with Megyn Kelly.
Yeah,
I thought it was a great interview, absolutely great interview, and I thought she nailed it because she primarily was talking about what they're doing in the private school that her kids attend and other schools, and it is. And I'm a fairly liberal person. It is absolutely ridiculous. They're just going so far in the other direction. It's crazy. It's insane.
It's
the Dr. Seuss stuff. I mean, this is nuts.
Dr. Seuss is a different story. Dr. Seuss is a really good debate. I think the Dr. Seuss debate should be the one we're having in a lot of these cases. Because I also saw Bill Maher, and I told so many people this week to watch it. I thought it was brilliant. Not the Megyn Kelly part. I think she was lying about a lot of stuff that she said. But the Bill Maher part at the end.
Kids in school, and
I know, but she was exaggerating. She's done this a lot and said like they're doing this in school, and no, they're not. Now I think what the point she was making were good, and Bill Maher's monologue at the end, the new rules monologue, was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and absolutely correct. I've said for a long time, like liberal ideas are so far ahead of conservative ideas, but this stuff is going to keep a lot of people from jumping on board and being a Democrat and liberal because they are ruining a lot of it with all this stuff. So that
this
needs
is what
to be
happens
fixed.
when you let and this is strictly political. We're at a bad point in time because, and I don't know when it's going to change because the extremes are ruling both parties.
Yeah,
and that's a really bad thing. They make up such a small percentage. They really do. They make up a very small percentage of the population. Most people are maybe not exactly in the middle, but they're toward the middle. And they're getting drowned out by lunatics on the fringe of both parties. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's gerrymandering. That's what the effect is, where you're never going to lose your seat if you're a politician to somebody on the other side. You're only going to lose it to people to your extreme, either left or right, and then so that you have to run that way. And it's crazy. And I think even a lot of people that have these opinions and a lot of the people that are in power that talk about these things would admit that. They'd say, hey, this stuff is crazy, but I have to do it to stay in power, and I can't have somebody run to my left or run to my right. So there's a lot of these problems. But so the doctor, just going back to the Dr. Seuss thing, which I think is a really, really fascinating debate. There's 2 points of this. First of all, was Dr. Seuss a racist debate? Not a debate. Yes. 100% yes. Now, here's what happened. He matured. He changed. He said, wow, I was an awful person. I was a racist. I was out of control. I need to atone for that. I need to be better. And he tried to be better. So I think there's a debate. Can you right your wrongs if they're that wrong? Like, can you find redemption if you're that wrong?
Sure you can.
That's worth a debate. And I think yes, but I think that's worth debating. And I think the other part is can we still appreciate your work if you're awful? Like, to me, I still listen to Michael Jackson songs. I think he was a despicable human being. I think there was like the disgusting things that he did.
Yeah.
Still love his music.
Though. Yep,
Yeah.
so do I.
And I think you can separate that. And I think, but that's a debate worth having. Is it wrong to like that? Maybe. That's a debate.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to be a fan of somebody to be a fan of what they do.
Right.
You know, I mean, Kurt Schilling for me is a perfect example. I loved watching the guy pitch. He was a great pitcher, especially in big games. Don't like anything else about him, but you know, as a baseball fan, I appreciated seeing him in big spots. He's a phenomenal player, a pitcher. By the way, are they gonna blow this game?
That's what I'll keep thinking. Like,
it's over. Santa Clara, they won by 5.
I keep looking like, do I have to run over at some point? But yeah, it's over. They got the ball with 16 seconds left and missed a couple of threes that could have got it to 2 points, but they did rally. I was starting to say when I got cut off earlier, the difference between Santa Clara last night when they played awful and barely beat Portland, which was a disaster, is this Rockets kid is so good. I mean, he is so good. He had 4 fouls in 7 minutes last night and was a non-factor. And tonight he dominated. I mean, that kid they had no answer for him. So I guess watch Santa Clara going forward as they advance here in the tournament.
Who have they got next? Do they have Gonzaga next?
No, Gonzaga's not here until Monday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's I think it'll be Pepperdine. I think they'll play Pepperdine. So that'll be a game to watch tomorrow, and then the day off Sunday, and then everybody gets here on Monday. I'm trying to look here. Where's to Mark? He said he hasn't given a shit about the Dr. Seuss controversy. I agree with you about Dr. Seuss in particular. Like I really don't. I don't think, but I do think it's a really, really good topic to actually have these discussions. Now nobody's having the real discussion. What the people on the left are like, cancel him, and the people on the right are like, Dr. Seuss, he wrote Green Eggs and Ham. How could you call that racist? Nobody's saying Green Eggs and Ham is racist. You fucking moron. Like McCarthy like read the book today. What's racist about this? Nobody said the book was racist. You're disingenuous douchebag. Like that's why these arguments are so dumb. Like he drew really horrifically fucking racist shit. Like really, really bad stuff. Like, but nobody's saying Green Eggs and Ham is racist. But then you go read the book. He posted a video today reading the book. Somebody tell me how this is racist. Nobody said it was. But that's where our level of discourse is. We can't actually talk about the issues. The issue is, can you redeem yourself if you're that bad? If you're that over the top disgusting, can you redeem yourself? I think you probably can. I think it's worth saying that you probably could. But I can listen to an argument that says, hey, if you're that awful, like you can't erase that. I can listen to that argument, and I think that's a debate worth having. And then the other one,
the book can still be very good.
And that's the other debate to have too. Like, can we appreciate the book? Somebody out here just said, I can't listen to R. Kelly's music anymore. Okay, like I can hear that.
Look, I mean, he's done working in Hollywood, but Kevin Spacey's a really good actor.
Yeah.
So does that mean I can't watch Kevin Spacey movies anymore because he was a disgusting human being, or is a disgusting human being? I'm still going to watch the movie if it's a good movie. Yeah. I mean, you got to tell me, all of a sudden, no, I can't like Reservoir Dogs anymore. Or not Reservoir Dogs. What's the Kaiser Soze? What Usual Suspects? He's phenomenal in that movie. I've seen the movie probably a dozen times.
Dude, American Beauty?
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite movies.
He's a tremendous actor. I'm glad he's not working anymore, but I still appreciate the stuff that he did do.
By the way, to Kirk, when does rap culture get canceled? Do we not know about the Eminem? The Eminem debate right now? This is the Gen Z millennial debate that's going on, where Gen Z is trying to cancel Eminem, and the millennials are like, no. This is where we draw the line. This is not going to happen. So yeah, it is going to happen. I'm like, those debates are going to happen. They are, and I think they're ridiculous. But yeah, like this is. I agree. Do not cancel Eminem. we're not doing this. But I don't I'm not for canceling anybody or anything. But I understand the debates. I understand that these things can have dialogue. It's just that nobody will have honest dialogue. And I talked about McCarthy. I'm saying both sides. Like both sides can't have real dialogue about these things. They can't. And that's
because
the real...
you either have to pick a side now. You can't play both sides, even if that's the way to play.
Yeah. And listen, I am not shying away. Like I am a fucking ultra liberal. Like there's no question about that. I'm not denying that. I'm not running away from that. But the liberals are fucking up with this. Like they really, really are. But that doesn't excuse that the conservatives are being completely ridiculous too. Like they both are. But like we need to figure out a way to actually discuss these issues. And I think each issue as we go, we can discuss it.
No, you really want to know. The majority of us, the overwhelming majority of us, have to at some point start saying very loudly, "Shut the fuck up." It's as simple as that. And that really includes, to me, you can take the two most extremes on the news media and just forget it both. Look, they're ridiculous. They're and they get way too much airtime. But until we get, I'm sad to say, until we get a network that is willing to absorb losses and just do news down the middle, we're not going to get that. And that's not going to happen.
Well, to be fair, the networks during the day are pretty good. The news networks during the day are pretty good. It's the shows at night that are not shows at night that they're not news shows though.
No.
And like people and I don't think they really claim to be. And so people get all mad about the slanted news on this side and on this side. Like it's not news. Like Tucker Carlson, not news. Rachel Maddow, not news. Like she reports news stories. She'll present a news story and then present her opinion on the story. That's not news. Like that's here's the fact. Here's what I think about it. And then people are like,
it's strictly entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. And
it's bad entertainment, quite frankly.
Yeah. And then people on the other side use it and say like, well, that's your news. Like, no, that's not the news. That's not what the news is. And Hannity and Tucker Carlson don't even try. So they just throw shit. No, she absolutely says, here's a fact. This is what I think about it. Like they don't work with facts. That's the difference. She works with a fact and then gives her opinion on it. That's not news. That's an entertainment show. But she at least starts with a fact where they don't. But either way, neither one of them are news. Like they're not the same thing. They're just it's a totally different category. But that is like it does then become like the arguing point of like your news said this. Like no, not news.
I would like to see studio audiences who are allowed to throw fruit at the hosts of these shows. That would be entertainment. Every time any of them lie and are caught lying, which is not that difficult because there's fact checking going on while they speak, they get pelted with stale fruit, rotten fruit. Gallagher can smash watermelons on them. That would be entertaining. That would be really entertaining.
By the way, to AJ, that was exactly what I was talking about. Yes, yes. Russiagate absolutely is a fact. It happened. And read the report. It happened. Now, how far it went and how much was actually, passed back and forth and actually collusion, which is not a real legal term, but how much it was, sure, you could debate how it went. But did coordination happen between Russia and the campaign? Yes. Read the fucking report. Yes. That's not debatable. That's a fact. So yeah. And yeah, she was taking some of the facts that were part of the case and extrapolating it out and say, well, if this happened, I believe this, and this happened. That's not news. That's not fact. But the fact is that yes, there was coordination between the campaign and Russia. That's fact. So like we start to like break those things up because the extrapolation part didn't happen. Well, now the beginning part didn't happen either. Well, no, that's not true. The beginning part did happen. Like the first part of it was fact. Yes. So and that's what we're saying is that then you take
her biggest whip was on the Trump's taxes thing. That completely blew up.
Yeah.
It did not go well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it was
that was right there. That was right there with Al Capone's vault.
Yeah. But it was also like, I don't know that she knew. Like I don't know. That was a really weird thing. But again, all she did is showed what happened. Like she just said, here's the taxes, and then people were like, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, that's fine. But all she did is present the tax form, so it didn't mean that the tax form was fake. Her marketing of it was ridiculous and over the top, but the tax form was the tax form. It's not like it wasn't like a fake tax form. That's kind of where I'm going with this. Like, here's a fact. Now the part that I take from this, the part that I read from it, is not fact. That's opinion. But the fact is, here's the tax form. That's not made up. And I think that's where people have a hard time kind of breaking that down.
What'd you guys think of the Knights game tonight?
Well, they got through it. 4-1 down to 4-4. I really like the broadcasters, and I think Shane Knighty does a great job, but you got to call it straight. The tying goal was absolutely horrible.
What'd he say?
Well, it was a tough play. No, it wasn't.
I think he said tough luck.
Yeah, Dansk even came on. They interviewed Dansk afterwards, and he was pretty forthright about it. He blew it, okay? Fortunately, they got the winning goal in overtime and get out of there with 2 points. It was, it wasn't a terrible performance by Dansk. He's a backup, and he hadn't played in the NHL. He hadn't played an NHL game in quite some time. They got 2 points. That's all that matters. And San Jose is, are they bad? Their goaltending is just dismal. Cool. And Martin Jones gets yanked tonight. They put Dubnyk in. He actually played pretty well, but that's a bad hockey team.
I think there was only like 2 tweets or whatever, but they always stand out. But, I said, got a feel for Dansk in that situation. The guy hasn't played in, an NHL game for like 4 years. He hasn't had a win in like 4 years. He's a minute away and he makes a blunder like that. You got a feel for him. I wasn't saying, I wasn't saying it shouldn't happen. But people were like, what do you feel for him? He fucked up. Like, yes, I know he did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going
to boo the guy because, right. It's not like he did it on purpose, but it was a pretty bad goal.
But you're right. I also think announcers are put in a bad spot. Like, you can say, if you're saying that, you can say.
I'm sorry. No, this is where I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
It's okay to be a homer. There's no problem with that. But when the guy screws up, you got to call it. You can't make an excuse.
Yeah.
And I thought Shane kind of tried to make an excuse, and it's like, come on. It was a really bad goal.
There's definitely a bad choice of words.
Yeah.
Him. It wasn't tough luck. He fucked up.
Yeah. It's not the last time he'll do it either.
No.
That's what happens. Players make mistakes.
Do you want to try to go into this, or there is absolutely a reason that he wasn't, Mark?
Yeah.
He didn't have to be.
Yeah, we want an explanation. What's going on?
He didn't have to be because the Knights can have up to 23 players on the active roster. They've had 20 because they've been balancing salary cap issues, and they've only had the minimum 20 on the roster, and they were not calling up the backup goaltenders to the active roster. So like Dansk wasn't on the active roster. He's on the active roster, but he was called up as an emergency call up.
Right.
Rather than actually moving him back and forth. So it's really just a transaction wire thing. And whenever they did decide to put Leonard on IR, which was today, it would have been retroactive to the last time he played anyway. So like there was literally zero reason to put him on IR until today. And then they made that move, which might mean another move is coming, might mean he shut down for a longer period of time, but not really, because they would have got an exemption for his $5 million, but they weren't going to move anybody up anyway. So, like, it didn't really matter. And now that it looks like they are going to start making moves now, and that's why they did make the move to put him on IR, but there was really no need to do it because it was just an exemption. It's not actual extra salary cap money that they would have got. So, it's very, very complicated. By the way, that's why the Golden Knights have somebody whose only job is calculating the salary cap every single day.
Every team has that.
Yeah. The Golden Knights are very secretive about it. They won't let them do interviews, and I don't think a lot of teams would anyway. But yeah, so in last year you saw between a couple of guys that were shipped back and forth from Chicago to Vegas over 100 times because they were managing the cap every single day, and that managing the cap every day gave them enough money to make moves at the deadline. So they're trying to do that this year.
That's why it's sure nice having a team in Henderson. Makes it a lot easier.
Although I don't think they were actually sending guys to Chicago.
Well, no, it was procedural in a lot of cases, but it's still they couldn't really send them to Chicago. Whereas you can actually send a guy to Henderson.
Right.
It's right down the street.
It's literally just drive to a different gym.
Yeah, right. So it's convenient. It's a really good thing for them to have their AAA affiliate right here.
Yeah, and I think obviously it was done for money because they want to make the money and they want to own their own team.
But it's already worked out. It's already worked out in terms of keeping guys sharp.
Right.
That they have to bring up.
Yeah, but it's a financial deal that is paying dividends on the ice also.
Oh, sure.
So I think that's a really nice thing for them. We don't know, man. Like we know, we think there's an idea because of some choice words that they've said. Yeah, I think Brady. I think to that point, I think they just called a suite at the Red Rock, Chicago. Just send them over there. Like, hey, go back to Chicago.
Was it Brandon Peary was the guy, right?
Yeah, he was.
He got sent down like 90 times in one season.
That was fun. They've obviously everybody's very hesitant to say with Leonard because there is a history of things that aren't on the ice related.
Right.
There was a comment, the other day about the symptoms subsiding, which would lead you to believe concussion.
Yeah.
But there's, it's all really speculation at this point. So
hopefully he's going to be okay, and we'll be able to get some important ice time in. Again, no knock on Dansk. He's doing the best he can, but Knights goaltending with Fleury and Leonard is just sensational.
It's almost as good as Chicago's goaltending with Subban.
Boy, was he good tonight, especially in the shootout.
He's been good. He's been good since the opener. He struggled in the opener. He's been really good ever since.
He's done well. And Chicago's a surprise team right now. Not that they're a contender to actually make a big run in the playoffs or anything, but they're better than people thought they'd be. And the goaltending has been a big part of the reason. The thought was, boy, they're going to really struggle in goal. Crawford's gone, and they've got two backups now. Well, it turned out these guys are playing well. Fleury, Malcolm Subban's done a nice job for the most part when put in. He's still the number 2 goalie, but he's getting plenty of action, and I'm glad to see him playing well.
It'd be great to see him actually, because he's getting mostly backup minutes right now, but to see him actually.
Yeah, but that's a nice win against Tampa.
Really nice, and
that's a really nice game.
Once it got to the shootout, you knew he wasn't losing. That guy's way too good in the shootout.
Oh, he's really good. He's great in shootouts. His problem is rebounds. He gives up way too many rebounds, and that's an issue. But one-on-one, he is. Good luck beating him in a breakaway because he is absolutely outstanding in that area.
Did you see that?
That's why I still think he's going to be a good goaltender down the road because he's still young, and he'll get better with the rebounds as time goes on. I think he will still be a starting goaltender at some point.
Yeah, it's consistency is what he needs, and I think playing more would lead to that. Like you just see him make spectacular save after spectacular save, and then all of a sudden just have a stretch where he's just awful, and you're like, "Whoa, what happened?" And by a stretch, I mean like a 5-minute stretch. You're like, "Okay, what happened?" And then he can get it back. But it's just focus and concentration and consistency that he needs.
It's not athleticism and rebounds. It's just being able to control the puck. That's not he's very athletic. Most of the goaltenders in the NHL are athletic. I mean, Martin Jones is still athletic, but he it's every game he gives up rebounds like he's handing out coupons.
Yeah, to truth from Duluth's point there. That's what I was about to say a minute ago. I don't know if you guys saw like the stretch of like 2 minutes in the overtime between Chicago and Tampa that was just completely out of control, like breakaway. It was nuts.
The 3-on-3s, and so was last night's. It was they had two phenomenal games back to back, and now they'll play again on Sunday. I think Tampa might they'll be a big favorite, but they'll have Vasilevsky back in the goal on Sunday, and that team's nasty off a loss. So Tampa might be worth a -1 play on Sunday.
Adam, what's going on with Reeves?
Ooh, he got nicked tonight. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, late in the game. It looked like he got a skate maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Curtis Gabriel said, I thought maybe our skates and his ankle turned, but Martinez looked at me and said, cut. I think when I fell down, one of my skates went up into his groin area.
Yep.
Or his hamstring. There was no blood, but he's obviously a big, tough dude, and it did not look good.
No, I suspect he's going to be he might be going on IR for a week.
That's a rough one.
He basically couldn't get off the ice.
And by the way, credit to him. Like Golden Knights needed a little bit of momentum, I thought, and the third period face-off, he looks over and he's like, "Let's go." Drops the gloves right at the start. They fight, and then 20 seconds later, the Golden Knights had a goal.
I think he also had an assist on one of the goals tonight.
Yeah, and Tuck went over to the box and really gave him credit for kind of getting things fired up there for the Knights.
No, he's done a good job. He's improved tremendously as a player since he came over, because when he arrived way back when, I mean, he was just he took bad penalties. He was just trying to stir things up too much, and he's really improved. And that fourth line is a very solid performing line.
Dave, you don't know what you're talking about. That never happened. The fans never booed him those first two games. They didn't hate. They didn't hate the they didn't hate the move. They loved him from day one and didn't boo him those first few games in Vegas, and he didn't make those penalties.
Well, I think his very first game, he took a horrible penalty, and that didn't go over very well. But he's clearly worked at his game. He's never going to be a big scorer, but he's an effective two-way player. He can jam things in the offensive zone while not being tremendously creative, which is fine. And he backchecks like crazy. I mean, he's a good player. He's just not an all-star, but he's a good player.
Yeah. That was a reference to like when we talked about this last year and said, the fans hated him and booed him at first. We got all this backlash of, you know what you're talking about? We loved him from day one. We wanted him that's not what happened. Not what happened. He got booed his first two games here. Let's not rewrite history.
I think I remember saying myself, he took a really bad penalty at a critical time in one of his first few games. And I said, he might be dressed in a suit and tie for the next couple of games. Well, but that's where a player really deserves credit for. Okay, I've got to improve certain facets of my game and play smarter. And he's done exactly that. He's become a real asset for the Golden Knights.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was a McPhee telling Gallant, "Hey, you wanted this guy, get him in line." and I think they had a talking to, and it kind of turned things around for him.
Yeah, but the player's got to buy into it.
Sure, but I think Reeves really trusted Gallant. I mean, not that it's not the same with DeBoer. I just think he really trusted him, and Gallant was like, "All right, man, yeah, here's what you got to do," and it seemed to work.
Yeah.
Adam,
yep.
I got to get your take on the Raiders, and we'll see what Dave thinks. All right, what the hell's going on the offensive line now? Now Incognito's going to go bye-bye? So you could lose. He is.
Yeah.
Renegotiation of the contract?
I mean, that's the plan. I mean, the anytime this happens, obviously you can make this move and talk to him and say, "Hey, we're bringing you back for less money," and then all of a sudden the team swoops in and we'll give you double. I mean, that could happen, but the plan is to bring him back for less money.
Ian Rappaport, the Raiders will be releasing Incognito because of their salary cap. He's 100% healthy and looks forward to continuing his career there or elsewhere, source says.
Yeah, there. I mean, like I said, that's the plan. The plan is to bring him back. Those things don't always work out, but as of right now, that is the plan. So I don't think he's out of their minds right now. I think right now they would pencil in Incognito as the starter next year. They just can't pay him what they were paying him.
Right. I saw Vic tweeted out today that Raiders are in talks with Nicholas Morrow, trying to bring him back. He's one of the few defensive players who played well last year, and he echoed Nelson Aguilar in questioning the team's accountability, raising the bar. It got me thinking, why, if Morrow and Aguilar could see what was going on, or were frustrated by the lack of accountability, why would they consider coming back? Wouldn't you, if you have an opportunity to get out, wouldn't you just get out? Seriously. Like, is it going to change?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say depending on what you're going to get paid, I think that's what you're looking for. So I think they're probably trying to negotiate with Morrow now because they know if he hits the market, he's actually going to do pretty well for himself. He had a really good season. And they probably want – I mean, I know they want to bring him back. It's a position of need, and he really stepped up, especially the second half of the year. So they want him, but if everybody else is watching the same tape, and they are, they'll see that he's really good. And, you know, he might get to get out of town. But that's the answer. I mean, you're right. I think if all things were equal, if everybody's offering the same amount of money, you'd probably look elsewhere. But if you're going to get more money from here than you would somewhere else, I think you just got to, you know, grin and bear it.
What do you think, Dave? If you're a free agent right now and you can get similar money somewhere else with a winning organization, I'm not saying the Raiders aren't a winning organization, would you try to get out?
No, I don't think I would. I mean, I think, again, why leave Las Vegas? It's kind of the way I feel about it. I don't know. I don't try to read the minds of these guys. I guess it's not a question I have a good answer to.
I definitely thought coming into the offseason that there's no chance they were bringing Morrow back. Not that they didn't want to, but that they weren't going to be able to afford him. But it seems like they're making him a priority, as they should, because he will sign somewhere for pretty good money if they, you know, if they're not able to get something in place before this all starts.
All right. On the same subject of why not just get out? Last night, TJ Otzelberger's name appeared in another story, you know, rumor mill stuff. Jeff Borzello, ESPN, who's pretty good, said that if Iowa State opens up, Otzelberger would be one of the top 2 candidates. So I'll ask Dave first. Should Otz have this same attitude I just put forth with, you know, say Aguilar and Morrow, and just say, you know what, let me get out of here. Let me go to Iowa State in the Big 12.
It's a better job. It just is. I mean, from the standpoint of conference affiliation, I'm not sure it's a better job in terms of the ceiling. Well, yeah, it is. It's the Big 12. I mean, Iowa State might never be top of the Big 12, but it's still the Big 12. This is the Mountain West.
Adam?
Well, I mean, there's also, you know, family considerations, and I know, you know, that's where his family was started, and his wife was from there, or not from there. But she played there, and I'm sure they'd have ties back there that they'd want to go back to, stronger than they have from being in Las Vegas for a couple of years, I would imagine, especially since half their time here was quarantined. They weren't even allowed to be a part of the community or see anything. So, yeah, that would probably be a part of it. But, you know, just because he's a candidate now or a leading candidate now doesn't mean he's getting the job. But we've said from the beginning, there's no question that he'll be considered.
I don't think anybody believed that this was going to be a career job for TJ when he arrived. It's just not a permanent destination anymore.
Well, I guess my bigger point is it's been a bigger struggle than he thought it would be. He has the building blocks with this group if the majority come back, and we'll see what happens with Bryce Hamilton. I don't expect that, but I don't have any inside information. And he ran into really bad luck with Zion Collins. You know, I mean, that's a fucking backbreaker. Unless they can pull off some kind of coup with a great transfer or, you know, some other top player in the class, that's a tough one to recover from when you put, you know, 2+ years into recruiting the kid.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about dumb luck.
Or just dumb behavior.
Well, on UNLV's part, it was dumb luck. But it's not a great job anymore.
It's a hard job. Now that said, hard job doesn't mean you never make the NCAA tournament.
Oh no,
it's not a worse job than Colorado State and Utah State, and those guys are doing better jobs. They're out recruiting UNLV. And by the way, Craig Smith would be another candidate for Iowa State, and I think he would be a brilliant hire. He's a really impressive guy. Alford's already done a better job with, his transition. What do you got, Adam?
I gotta go. I'm getting kicked out. Sorry. I'll talk to you guys.
I got you.
Yeah. Close.
But it's just not a destination job anymore. It hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah.
And this is, and yet it's a job where if you do pretty well, you're going to get really good offers.
Right. Or if you're not even doing that well.
Yeah, apparently so.
Right. And a tie to the program, someone may come after you and just say, hey, because he'll obviously the COVID year is tricky for a lot of people. It's gonna wind up costing Steve Prohm his job. I mean, frankly, he cost himself the job with what he did the last 3 years, and even the year that they won 20 games, they had multiple NBA players on the roster, and by that roster, they still underachieved. So.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, I don't think TJ's the favorite for that job by any means.
No,
and in fact, he's not the favorite coming out of the Mountain West because I think Craig Smith and Nico Medved, are probably ahead of him. Medved's a star.
Yep, they're both great.
Yep, I know they lost tonight. By the way, that might have cost them an NCAA tournament berth.
Yeah,
not a good week for the Mountain West on the at-large scene with Boise and Boise. That's a bad loss for Boise. Colorado State was not. This was not a surprise. Let's put it that way.
You want to get back into this? Like, fucking Mountain West. They screwed these schools with this extra week of games.
Got to win the game.
Yep. I agree.
It was tough. It was tougher for Colorado State, obviously, because, going into Reno is not easy. Nevada's pretty good, but Boise can't lose to Fresno. And I know Hudson's doing a nice job there. That team is clearly improving. They're a lot better now than they were early in the season. But if you're Boise, you still have to win that game.
I missed Jim's question here. Is Bryce going into the transfer portal? I have no idea.
I think it's entirely possible.
I mean, what would you guys do if you were Bryce Hamilton?
If I'm Bryce, I would go into the transfer portal because I think there's a Power 5 school that would be happy to have him logging substantial minutes, and that would definitely boost his stock.
No, I'm sure there's a very very NCAA ready team in the Pac-12 or two that would take him, and he could be their number 2 or 3 guy, and it would be great for him, and it would be a massive addition.
Yeah.
It's UNLV. This roster is a little bit short on talent. They're short of a good 4-man. They're short a real point guard. And they lost Marvin Coleman. They still should have had a backup. They're not that far away, but man, the games it just bogs down sometimes where it's arduous watching them try to play offense. And if you could have a game where freaking Bryce and David Jenkins go off via ball movement, then they can beat a lot of good teams. But it just seems like they almost never are both playing efficiently, or the offense is working again for both at the same time.
Yep. And unfortunately, they kind of are far away from the standpoint of, I mean, I can't say what the roster is going to look like next year, but there's some good teams ahead of them that I don't know that they're going to be able to catch up to just yet. And a couple of the programs that are behind them are heading in the right direction. Wyoming is definitely improving. They are probably going to be pretty good by next year. And Hudson's got some good young talent at Fresno State that started to play well now. Yep. And I wouldn't be shocked if they actually make a little bit of noise. They're not going to win it, but I would not be shocked if they make a little bit of noise in the Mountain West tournament.
Well, then here's the thing. And I know everyone keeps talking about, growing old as a team. Like, you really can't. It's not that easy to do. San Diego State has the perfect mix. But beyond that, a lot of this is quick fix. And if Musselman can do it at 2 different stops, if, Craig Smith can walk in 3 years, is winning whatever. This year he's not going to win that many because I was going to say 25 games, but you can't do it this year because it's a shortened season. But if you can do it with a combination of recruiting and building and augmenting, they have to lean on some high profile transfers. And if that means that Donovan Yap is just a developmental guy next year and Jalen Martinez doesn't play that much, you got to get more on the roster. And the other thing is and I've said this a bunch of times, you can't make mistakes. So you can't bring in a junior college transfer in Edo Del Cadia and he's not playing. You
Right.
can't.
And that's what the Zion thing is just.
Yep.
I mean, it's
Oh,
not their
that
fault.
too.
That's just a huge
Yeah.
hit.
And we'll see, man. I don't know. I was going to say they'll be okay next year, even without Bryce, because I think they will get some transfers. But I have no idea what the condition of Marvin Coleman is going to be. So he just got another surgery last week on one of his legs. So he's had surgery in both legs. Like that. That sounds. I have no insider information, but that sounds like the kind of those injuries are like. Is he going to make it through the rest of his college career? You know, and I think the rest of the guys will stay around. I don't see any reason why David Jenkins would leave. He's showing more signs. He's not a great defender, but fuck, he can score, man. When he's on, that was ridiculous the other night. San Diego State, I'm telling you, on the floor, San Diego State was so fired up to slow him down. They were fired up to slow down Hamilton, but once Jenkins went off, like I could see every guy who ran on the floor would like go right up to Jenkins and like body up against him and just stare at him like, fucking, you're not scoring on me. And he just kept scoring.
Yep.
So
it's too bad he's not a little bigger
I know.
because that would help his defense. But he's a really fun player to watch.
Well, that's why he landed at South Dakota State, right? Because he's about 6 feet tall. But he can play. He can obviously he can play.
That's generous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was looking when he was covering, he got switched on to Terrell Gomez a couple times, and Gomez is 5'8", and I'm like, Jenkins is probably a little close. Probably closer to 5'11" than 6'1" or 6 foot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 5'10", maybe 5'11".
They absolutely have to nail some impact guys. I think 2 in the transfer portal who can walk in right away and play or be at least in a 7-man rotation.
So you got to maybe go after some Big Sky talent.
Well, I mean, I think they've got to
aren't NBA ready, but might be willing to move up from the Big Sky to the Mountain West. And you got some players in the Big Sky.
I think they've got to be in. Some of the guys who are in the transfer portal, like the Robert Morris kid, that Brahma kid.
Yep.
They've got to be in on him. You're going to have to beat out Power 6 conferences for players. The player at Boston College who left, the player at Pitt who left, like guys like that, they have to win on some of those guys.
Yep.
And
they've got to go in hard on these guys.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming they're going to do.
Yepers. What do you think about New Mexico and who they're going to go after? Because their list there's some crazy names being mentioned for their list, which I'm not sure how they're going to get it done money wise.
I don't know. I mean, but whatever happens, it's got to be better than this year. I mean, that school between football and basketball, I'm not sure I've ever seen. Well, I won't forget the not sure. It's an absolute train wreck for New Mexico this past year. They've got to be absolutely thrilled to be done with all this.
Just hire Kelvin Sampson. That's what, New Mexico?
Kelvin Sampson.
Kelvin Sampson ain't leaving Houston. Not for either Mountain West Conference job. Not for UNLV or New Mexico. There's no shot.
No, I think he's staying right where he is.
Yeah, they'll pony up if they need to. And yep, Houston. He's got Houston dollars, and the NCAA is not looking at Houston like they were at Indiana. So he's fine there, and Houston's got a great advantage, Dave, because they've got an advantage because they can be the second chance place for Texas players and area players to come back to, just like Grimes.
Well, he's not going to have a problem recruiting there. No. I mean, it's Houston's. It's a big time program.
Yep.
It's not the same in football as it is in basketball. Houston can be an annual powerhouse, and I think they will be as long as Sampson's there. Sampson's a terrific coach.
So New Mexico, I think Frank Martin is using New Mexico potentially as more leverage. I'm not sure what's going on there. Tim Miles should be the lead candidate. Damon Stoudemire. Jeff Borzello said that another intriguing name emerging is Richard Pitino.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think of that one?
Well, he's probably only got, 1 year left before things get really hot in Minnesota? Program did not do well this year.
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
You got players, man.
Yep. Just because his name's Pitino doesn't mean he's got the same coaching ability his dad has. Because nobody's doubting Rick. I mean, forget the stuff away from basketball, away from the court. The guy's a great coach. Great coach. I think Pitino might get one more year at Minnesota. I don't think he'll get fired just yet, but he will go into next season squarely on the hot seat, maybe the hottest seat in the country. I think if it were not for COVID-related stuff, I do think that he might have lost his job this year, but it's going to be excused. A lot of down seasons will be excused this year because it's just circumstances.
Dave, if Otzelberger left, would you boost up Kevin Kruger all the way to that level, to head coach?
Maybe a little too soon. The funny thing is, the guy who I might go after and say, hey, Todd, you want to come back to Las Vegas? Todd Simon, what a job he's done at Southern Utah. You know how bad that program, I understand it's the Big Sky, so you can move up quicker in the Big Sky. That program was as bad as it gets. That's a bottom 10 national program. And they're arguably the best program in the Big Sky now. He's done a great job there. And by the way, his teams are fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. Even when he was here as the interim, Rebels were fun to watch. He's gonna get a better job.
Yeah, they will.
He's not gonna be in Cedar City much longer.
I like him.
So do I.
But they will not be a 4-year player program with Todd Simon. They will not. They'll be. I mean, if you like what Musselman did, and I'm not saying Todd Simon is Musselman, but it'll be a stopping off point for a lot of players at UNLV because he'll work it, but he will get players.
Well,
now, X's nose wise, I don't know.
Does it matter if you win?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I don't know if it all would all come together here and win, but they would get players.
Yeah, he'd take some chances on some guys who might have imperfect records. But I mean, it's just, to me, he should be a candidate for National Coach of the Year. That's how he has performed a miracle at Southern Utah.
What do you think fans would think of Todd Simon coming back?
I think a lot of fans might like it.
Yeah.
Because, again, they were really fun to watch. I mean, was there ever a bad game for UNLV when he was the coach? Let's roll the ball.
Well,
let's roll the ball out there and they were running Rebels, I'll tell you that.
There were a few because they got so beat to shit down the stretch.
Well, but he took over a program that was in really bad shape.
It got ridiculous. I mean, everyone was kind of in for for themselves, and they just got beat up down the stretch. So he didn't get a fair shot. I do. One thing I do remember is that even with, well, it was a weird deal because even with things falling apart, he did have UNLV on the list of some really, really top recruits. Of course, they then pissed away a couple of visits and wound up fucking over Marvin because then Marvin came in and it was like, wait, how many? We don't have visits? Like, I'm trying to cobble together this team. But he's a great recruiter. He's dynamite.
Truth from Duluth with a miss.
What's that one?
He says, see, with little Ricky, you get Rick coaching for row 1. No, Rick's the head coach at Iona. So he's not there.
Yeah, I think the theist stuff is done forever.
Yeah, I think that's done. Call it straight. He did not do well at Northridge. He's not a head coach.
No. It was both, Doug. It was both. A lot of it was Simon. And a lot of it was Miller. Ryan Miller's a hustler, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was, as Marcus says, it was crazy. It was crazy down the stretch. We'll see. We'll see if Iowa State has a lot of money, and there's a lot of good candidates out there for a Big 12 job, and especially, as I've said many times, Iowa State does play the recruiting game, so they do have backers who will make them competitive on the recruiting trail with some high level guys.
It's a big time program.
Yeah,
I mean there are no non-big time programs in the Big 12. It's an elite conference. Second best conference in the country right now. Big Ten's the best this year, but the Big 12's could produce a national champion, and I mean the conference is absolutely loaded.
What would you put this at, Dave? Odds TJ is back next year.
I think he's a strong favorite to be back.
I'll go 85%, but I haven't seen, I don't know the entire list for Iowa State yet. So, I mean, if he really is top 2, I don't know that he's top 2, but if he really is, I know he'll be in the top 5. If he's top 2, then obviously, then you're starting to look at like 60, 40, 50, 50.
Yeah. But I don't have any information on that. But yeah, look, he's extremely highly regarded. And I don't think he's hurt himself here.
Yeah. I think the other question with UNLV is which assistants will be back, because there'll be a couple that are courted by other schools too. So, like Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin's interesting because obviously he's going to be a head coach down the road.
Yep. So do you jump the gun a little bit early and grab him?
Well, I don't know if he's ready yet, but he's going to be ready soon enough. And I wouldn't mind if he's ready, if he learns to get ready here.
I'll tell you what,
I think he'd be well received by the fans.
I'll repost the interview that we did with Steve Jones and Curtis Terry the other day. And I'll repost it. Man, when I was asking them about Kevin Kruger, and listen, they're not completely objective because they're best buddies with Kruger, but the way they were talking about Kevin and his basketball mind, I was like, wow, okay. Like next level when he was 21 years old. Like they both thought, especially Steve Jones was like, I thought I really knew a lot about basketball. You know, Steve Jones is a basketball freak mind wise. You know, his dad was a longtime announcer in the NBA.
Yep.
And Steve was like, I thought I knew some stuff, and then Kevin would see things in the game and in practice that I would never see.
Well, I think he displayed that when he was on the court.
Yeah. I
mean, Kevin got the most out of his ability. Let's put it that way. And his dad's a Hall of Famer.
I think the other thing that was important that they said is that don't judge Kevin by how reserved he is in public. That he's got a much bigger personality. He's much more relatable than maybe people would see on the surface. So
I think he's got a lot of his dad in him. Lon's a pretty reserved guy. But
yeah,
boy, can he coach. I know they've lost a few games at the end of the season, but he's done his usual great job at Oklahoma, and they'll be interesting in the NCAA tournament.
So what'd you win tonight, Dave, and what are you looking at tomorrow in college basketball?
I played the Sun Belt tonight. I had 3 bets, and they were all in the Sun Belt, as it turned out, and I won 2 of them. So that worked out pretty well. Appalachian State was a best bet for me. And I played a few tournament games tomorrow. I don't like the end of the regular season. You never know what teams' motivations are going to be. So even there's a dream spot tomorrow for Ohio State. And I don't know if I've got the stones to bet it. But Illinois coming off that tremendous win against Michigan. And Ohio State's lost 3 in a row. That's a pretty big game for Ohio State tomorrow. But I still don't. I have a tendency to look more at the tournaments. I played a couple of games in the Patriot League. I like Lafayette. I like Army. I like Chattanooga in the SoCon tomorrow. I think they've got – I tend to put more weight on really good guard play at the end of the season in these tournaments. I think that teams with good quarterbacks, floor generals, are teams to look out for. And that really worked in the Appalachian State game tonight. They had a much better backcourt than the other side, which basically didn't have a backcourt, and it was big in the game.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't. I mean, UL Monroe lost their point guard in the middle of the season, and they've not been able to fill the spot. They've actually been playing like a 5 forward, five bigs, and they just don't handle the ball very well. So I tend to look at teams that I think have really strong backcourts. I think Chattanooga's got that, and the 2 teams in the Patriot League have that as well, at their level, obviously. And I might mess around with a couple others in the morning, but that's all I have right now. I'm not a big volume guy anyway, so
right.
If I'm on 3 games, even on a busy Saturday, that's plenty for me. It's been, knock on wood, I've had a really good run. Really good run.
So for truth, this is interesting. One, Rutgers is a 3.5 point favorite, so I don't know if you'd lose your job because you lost as an underdog. 2, one game I don't think matters. I think they've got plenty on Richard Pitino, and more importantly, if they've got someone else in mind, a bigger name or See, I think Craig Smith would be great for that job too. But if they've got someone they're targeting, that's why Richard Pitino will go bye-bye, not based on one game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I think he could go. I have a tendency to think he might be back for one more year.
frankly, if I were, if I'm making the decisions in Minnesota, I don't give a shit if they win or lose tomorrow's game. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
It's the body of work to this point. They've had a very disappointing season. Been absolutely dismal on the road. Really
They've got
bad.
talent, man.
The
Their point guard Carr, he doesn't play smart all the time, but he's really good.
But that is part of the problem, is that it's not a very smart team.
Yeah.
They do a lot of dumb stuff. The kid who transferred in from Western Michigan, from one game to the next, it's like he's terrific one game and just brutal the next game. That's on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
You got to get consistency out of these guys. No, I would completely agree that he's done a job that if he gets fired, it's not like it's unwarranted. But I just have a feeling he might get another year.
All right. Yeah, he should be a lot more consistent. They should be a team that's able to go, 10, 11 wins every year, and they've had too many years where they've fallen short. It's a good job. I think he's allowed to do some things with recruiting that you need to do. So,
well, they're an NIT. Excuse me, they're an NIT program on paper. They're not going to make the NIT.
Oh yeah. I mean, but overall, when you're in the Big Ten, you can see what's happening now. You got teams sputtering down the stretch, and they're still in the field, the NCAA field, according to bracketology.
Just loaded.
But my point is, if you get to 9 or 10 wins, 9 and 11, 10 and 10, at a minimum, you're getting in, and he hasn't been able to do that. I mean, he's made one tournament in the last 4 years before this, and it's 15, 22, 15. Well, we don't know what's going to happen this year, but he's 13 and 13 this year. It's just not good enough.
No, I don't agree with the sentiment that he should be gone.
I kind of think he should go. It's 8 years. He's made the tournament twice.
Has he been there 8 years already?
Yeah, the first year they won the NIT.
Yeah, I remember that.
But NCAA tournament twice in, technically 7 years. We don't know what's going to happen this year. Maybe they get the auto bid. So, hey, I wanted to close on this one. Dave, what's going on with the vaccine? Did you get it?
I actually have my appointment Monday, but I am probably going to have to reschedule. And I know this sounds stupid, but my cat is sick and has to have an ultrasound done. He's old, and they think he might have lymphoma.
Oh,
so
no.
That would be bad. That would be really bad. So he comes ahead of me on the health scale. So I'm begging off some shows that I do on Monday that are potentially conflict with that, and taking him to the vet.
And the cat's how old is the cat? Like 19?
It would unknown. Probably about 17.
Okay.
He was a rescue, and he's a nice cat, but he's got some physical issues right now, which so that'll set me back about $500 or $600, but they're expensive.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. we have one of our cats has I don't know, seemed to have a cold for like a month and a half. She's all sniffly and shit, but she's also got like a growth on the right side of her neck. No. So we bring her in. They charge like $440. This was like 7 weeks ago. They're like, yeah, we'll give you a call about the next step with the whatever it was. They're going to do a biopsy. No call. I'm like, all right, it was $440 for nothing. What the fuck's going on?
I have no complaints with my vet. They charge a lot, but they do a good job.
Where do you go?
I have a mobile vet, and my on-site. If for instance, for the ultrasound, he will go to All About Cats.
There you go. Yeah. We used to.
I have a mobile vet who
cool.
Comes here because he doesn't particularly like being. Actually, he doesn't mind the car, but he doesn't like the crate very much.
Right. Not many do. They fucking.
No, other cats that I've had.
Yeah.
They hate the car.
Oh, okay.
And it's meow meow meow. They don't like it. This cat actually likes the car, but he doesn't like the crate.
Right.
So actually, I and I don't want him scratch. I have to put him in it because, he's got claws, and I I don't want him scratching
course.
the leather on the car.
Yep.
So he has to go in the crate, and that's an ordeal getting him into the crate.
So, so on the vaccine, as everything opens up here, things are getting better and better. I went to, I had to go to a pharmacy today to pick up a prescription, and I walked near the front of the line, and some old guy jets in front of me, and did I say it was CVS? So it's CVS. You got all the pharmacists behind a bunch of protective glass, and the guy walks right up to the glass, and he's like, how come you guys don't have the vaccine? My doctor said come to CVS or Walgreens, and why don't you have the vaccine? And he just goes into this whole lecture about like he's going to call CVS corporate. Why don't they have it out? This is why we can't take the mask off. You guys aren't doing your job. Pick it up.
What are you talking about?
And I'm sitting there. I wanted to be like, asshole, go to Walgreens. It's like right around the corner. Without an appointment at the end of the day, sometimes you may be able to get the freaking thing. He was 68. It's just like, make an appointment. You can make it there. Now it's everywhere. They've got openings everywhere. You can basically get it on a notice.
I'm
What
the
the
same
fuck are you
age.
talking about?
I can go to Walgreens and pick the day I want.
Uh-huh.
It's easy.
We've got multiple friends in the media who have gone and gotten it within, a half an hour. Like, old dude, what is your vendetta against CVS? And the pharmacist, it's a pharmacist. She's like, yeah, we don't have it. We were told a month or two. And it's just like, well, you tell them. Like, she's not going to tell them, all right?
What's she going to tell them?
We're going to have a fucking Mr. Gower situation from It's a Wonderful Life. They're going to fuck up someone's drugs because you're yelling at them about the goddamn vaccine. Get out.
It's probably somebody in my age group, he is my age group, who doesn't understand anything about computers or phones.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculously easy.
Yeah. Well.
And all I'll do is I'll reschedule it for a couple of days later.
Right. Yeah, as Brady said, everyone's on edge and doesn't give a shit about anyone else. So they just, not everybody, but people just walk in front of you and start yelling. It's just like, get out of here. We got stuff to do. It's ridiculous.
Oh, if somebody cuts the line, they shouldn't get the shot. It's like, no,
that'd be
go
good.
wait in line.
Yep. Come back tomorrow.
Make an appointment like everybody else.
Yep. Come back tomorrow.
Yep.
He just wanted to go in there and yell at somebody, so he picked up the poor pharmacist. So
I'm sure the pharmacist really gave a shit.
She didn't. She said to him 3 times, like, we don't have it. We don't control it. And then just type. I got to work. And it was late too. It was like 4:45. Like they're probably getting out of here. Shut up, dummy.
What is this? Hank Aaron died from COVID shot. Where do you get this stuff?
He's KC Chiefs very anti-shot on his 4th name that he's been in here with.
Where'd you read that?
Ray 702. No, he did not.
Right.
KC Chief. Yes, he did. Look it up. All right.
Look it up. Where? On some fucking YouTube video?
Says Google.
Google it. It's true. Not for nothing, but you guys, you're the problem. You believe everything you read from whatever random bullshit site it's posted on. Okay? Do a little actual research. Do some fact checking. Stop being a moron. Unless you are just that stupid. Okay?